How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. Today I'm joined by none other than Sean Ryder. What is up, man?
I must admit that I am a left lane driver.
Oh no, dude.
I saw your post earlier today.
I may have to send you the papers to dissolve this union then. Like that cannot be okay. Maybe probation.
I saw your post and then I was in the shower and I was thinking about why I'm a left lane driver. And it took me all the way back to where I grew up. I didn't really drive on the highway much when I first got my license, but like the only highway that was near me when I had to go to another school or whatever for a sporting event, it was like a mini highway that went through neighborhoods. So it was just a 2-lane road. So like everyone was in the left and right lane. And then I'm thinking about once I actually went to college, the only highway I drove on was 81. And there's a ton of 18-wheelers on 81. It's like the number one highway for traveling up the East Coast for 18-wheelers. So you're always in the left lane because you're always passing 18-wheelers. So I think that is my valid reason for being a left lane driver. I do drive in the right lane more than I ever have, but from a percentage wise, I'm probably like 80-20 left lane favored.
There's no reason to use that word valid because there's no reason to validate you to be in the left lane. No,
you're pulling a huge ass home behind your truck. You just stay in the right lane and let me chill in the left lane, going 10 above the speed limit. Just let me hang out there.
No, you guys need to get over. I'm not pulling anything. I know common decency. You're exhibiting the reason the country's going to shit right there. Because people don't understand common decorum anymore. And that's the problem. It is on certain roads.
I'm a left lane driver. I'm one step away from wanting to compete in women's sports. You're right. I am the reason this country is going to shit.
Well, see, you devalue your leadership role in it. And you're raising the next generation of Americans. And so what I need from you is I need you to step up and understand your responsibility as a man and a husband. And for you right now, it's time to commit to understanding how to signal, pass, signal, and get over and get the fuck out of the way in a timely manner so that everyone else can pass. Because no one wants to drive 10 over, Sean. 10 over?
I'm trying to keep my tickets down, I guess. Unfortunately, my wife is in the other room and I don't have a door on my office. So she's going to hold me to it, because how often I hear my wife say, well, I heard you always say Jeff says. She uses it against me only when it's convenient to her. She's hearing.
I understand that.
I've done a lot better at when I'm in the left lane and someone is being super dangerous, driving more than 10 above the speed limit and getting on my ass, I will move over, as opposed to before not moving over.
See.
We're making progress. This is called personal development, Jeff. I'm making progress.
That is progress. That is progress. I love that you're raising your awareness, like we always talk about, right? You're like, why do I do this?
To admit it. I'm admitting it to the world. I'm not trying to hide my imperfections.
If I drive in a car as a passenger of someone who sits in the left lane and is a left lane vigilante, as I refer to them, it gives me anxiety. It gives me anxiety because I'm like, I didn't realize you were a rude person. I should not be a passenger in your car, knowing the level of like care at which you just discredit your fellow community members.
Listen, if we are trying to live to be 120, why would we not drive in the lane that the least amount of cars are going to be in?
Because that's not how it works, Sean. If everybody thinks like you, then there's not the least amount of cars in there. It's kind of like when everybody's trying to.
That's why we're high achievers. We think differently.
No.
Everyone else is playing checkers. We're playing chess.
No, there's a level of public decorum that's necessary for a civilized society to maintain its parameters. You're probably the same guy that's going to exit and there's a line of 1,000 people and you just speed right up and cut in because your time's more valuable than everybody else's. It's the same type of people.
Listen,
Jeez.
driving is a chess game. You got to think a few cars ahead. That's how it works. I got nothing else to say about that. But on the topic of personal development, that does play into, we are less than a month. Yeah. By the time this podcast drops, we're probably 2.5, 3 weeks out from our Inner Circle in-person meetup in Jacksonville, Florida. That is going to be April 10th and 11th, 11th, 12th, whatever that Thursday.
10th and 11th.
10 to 11, April 10, 11. We're going to fly in on the 9th. I've never been to Jacksonville, so I'm excited about that. We're staying a little east of Jacksonville, which I've heard is the place that you want to be. You don't want to be in downtown Jacksonville. I apologize for anyone that lives in downtown Jacksonville or likes downtown Jacksonville. I'm just saying what I heard. But we have a good little 2-day get together. And one thing that comes up often with you and I, Jeff, in masterminds that have meetups is the importance of actually going to the meetup and why one should be, if they're investing the time and money in a mastermind, why they should actually invest the time and money into going, leaving their home, leaving their families, leaving their businesses for 48 to 72 hours and going and meeting the group in person. So where does your head go when you have to unfortunately persuade or sell someone on the idea of actually going to the in-person meetups?
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't think people understand the power of them until they get down that road a little bit in their personal development journey, if you will. I think getting in the room with people that are like-minded, that are on the same journey, that are ahead of you in the journey, learning, just collectively holding each other accountable. There's so many benefits to it that are just energizing. And it's not a rah meeting. It's like, let's leave with structure and plans and work on your stuff specifically. But also then, like, you can really bond with other people that are on the same journey, that are kind of wanting the same things, that can bring you skill sets and solve problems. I mean, I'm a big guy that talks often about like relationship capital. And that relationship capital is oftentimes not built over Zoom. And as much as people would like it to be, technology has provided us with amazing resources that allow us to network with people from around the country and beyond on a regular basis. But there's still nothing that replaces that, like getting in the room, having dinner with someone, like breaking bread with them, creating those relationships, understanding them on a little bit deeper level and what they're trying to do. And it's really, really important. And I've been a part of a lot of groups. They meet on different cadences, right? For us, I think we prioritize in the tactical empire, we're prioritizing being husbands, fathers, business owners, and things like that. So we're at a point in life, a season in life where we have a lot of obligations. And so understanding that, we limited the in-person meetups with regards to this group to simply twice a year. Because I think that brings the amount of times together that we need every 6 months to do what we need to do with like maximal effectiveness. So like you want to kind of get out of your environment and make sure that you can kind of shed some of those blinders that you kind of get used to in your local community or your local business area. And it takes you out of your comfort zone to an extent. It's a pattern interrupt where you have the ability to get away, think about things, vision casts, plan, structure what you need to do with some input from other people that are doing a lot of things. And we generally bring a variety of speakers in to educate and to entertain and teach different concepts, but then also there's a lot of planning, there's a lot of structure to it as far as what you're going to go do in the next 6 months before we meet up again. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I hope that people prioritize being in the room because it is vitally important. I mean, the trajectory you can go on out of some of these meetups are incredible with regards to the next steps that you need to be taking in your business and in life in general. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, I think people's strengths also have a corresponding weakness to them, and a strength of high achievers, business owners, proactive investors is we are creatures of habit. It's actually in our introduction course for the Tactical Empire is habit stacking and habit creation and habit auditing and time schedule auditing. And so we become creatures of habit, and that is a huge positive when it comes to playing the long game in business or investing and building wealth and being fit and being a good family man. We're consistent across a long timeline. The corresponding weakness to that is sometimes it's hard to break that routine. For me personally, I love my day-to-day life. I love who I live with. I love where I live. I love what I do. And so it's taken me a while to break the thought of I actually don't want to leave, which is why I appreciate the organization that we run, that we do only meet twice a year. But you have to break the repetitiveness of your day to day because it's hard to see and zoom out when you're looking at your typical Monday, your typical Tuesday, your typical Wednesday, and then you have family obligations. And so being able to break that cadence, and for me, it starts on the drive to the airport heading to the meetups. I wouldn't say it's like a weight lifted off my shoulders, but it is like okay, let me take a breath. I know what I'm about to get into for the next 2 days in regards to being disconnected. What I don't know what I'm getting into is what I'm going to take away from it. And I'm someone that knows what the itinerary is and who we have coming in, but I still don't know what is that one thing that they're going to say, that they're going to teach, that I didn't know I needed to hear right now in this season of my life. It's kind of like reading the same book every 2 years or whatever. You could read it 5 times, but it's not until the 4th time that you see the one thing that resonates with you that's going to move the needle in this season of life. Like, for example, I just reread the book Winning by Tim Grover. The first time I read it, I was like, all right, like, it's another rah-rah. Like, he's not a rah-rah guy. Like, he's a hardcore guy, but like, when I first read it, because I read his first book, Relentless, and I read that at a good time in my life that I needed that kind of like aggressive motivation. Then when I read Winning for the first time, which was his second book, it was more of a time where I was trying to like change myself as a dad and as a husband. So I wasn't in the headspace of do anything possible to obtain what Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. I just wasn't in that headspace. Now I'm kind of back in the space where I'm really good in my husband's sphere, my dad's sphere, but I want to get a little bit more aggressive with my investing and rebuilding a brick and mortar gym business. So I pulled out Winning because another guy in the group said his 12-year-old daughter was reading it. I'm like, well, shit, if he thinks she can read it, I'll read it. And I read it, and it struck the right chord with me last month. And I will call myself out for this. If you guys listen to our podcast regularly, just 2 months ago, I said I wasn't reading any new books this year besides my daily readers. So let me call myself out. I did read from start to finish, and kudos to that book at the right time in my life, because I usually don't finish books. A lot of books, I do agree with what I've read at one point. It was like most books should just be long essays, because once you get halfway, you've learned what you need to learn, and they're just repetitive bullshit the rest of the way. So I did read the book, and it was awesome for right now. So what I'm getting at is you go to the meetups because you have to disconnect from your day-to-day, number one. Number two, it gives you the space. To think from a macro level and reset your visions and reset your quarterly goals and strategies. Number three, sometimes we have these conversations with guys and they're on a 30-minute phone call or 30-minute Zoom. And whether you're trying to like get the time in and get out, or you have another obligation, whether it's another call or picking up your kids from school, there's always something that butts up against those times. Those times where you connect with those men, like you're saying on Zoom, it's different when you meet them in person. So I remember back at the last meetup going to dinner, and it was very calm and relaxed. And it was after we had that 3.5 hour hike, and we went to a taco restaurant, and guys ordered drinks, and the tacos were delicious. And I was able to sit there with two of the men. You know, we had 15 guys at the table, and we had, you know, two men. We sat there and we just had a nice slow conversation, and there was no rushing to it. And that's cool. You don't get that when you're on Zoom. And so I'm excited about that. Do you want to bring up, I know we have a few guys in the lineup. Do you want to drop any names or talk about any of the topics in regards to what we have prepared for the guys this time? I can speak for myself. I know what I'm presenting on, but what do you want to drop for these guys? Whether you're in the inner circle, if you're not in the inner circle, we would love to have your first experience with the inner circle being in Jacksonville. I think it'd be a good catalyst to your growth in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna have some guys cover some investment stuff. I think I've got some things planned for like legacy wealth and tax strategy. I think it's always good to touch on that type of stuff and open more Q&A type forum. Because I mean, I enjoy asking questions on what people like are curious about, and then like let the conversation kind of take it that way, as opposed to like projecting on them what they may or may not know with regards to structuring. A lot of times you can go off the deep end on that type of shit, with regards, especially when you're talking about tax strategy and entity structure and infinite banking, all that stuff. Like I could give a level 11 presentation about it, and I really need to be on level 2 type thing. So it's best to just ask questions and meet the room where they are. We're going to do some stuff about that. I've got some other things that I'm working on. Alternative investment strategies, not alternative meaning like taboo weird shit, just like teaching some stuff that is kind of out of our scope generally. And I don't want to really announce anything yet as far as that goes, but I've got some finalized commitments being made. But go ahead. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so I think last time I got very specific on setting the pace, fast enough to move, slow enough to last. And what I really liked at the last meetup is one of the presenters basically went through the lessons that he learned throughout his life and career. And not to copy and paste his topic, but I was inspired by that to go back to what I'm going to call the best, worst year of my life, which was 2020, right? So many positive things happened in my life in 2020, and some of the shittiest things in my life happened in 2020. And I think that year is literally the epitome of entrepreneurship and building a family and doing both of those at the same time. And what happens after you've been invested in something for 8 years, and then things out of your control happen, and how do you maintain and grow while some fires are going on in the background. And I'm really happy with what I've pieced together so far. And the goal there is just like the last presenter who did that. It was one, it allowed you to connect with someone on a human level. It allowed you to know that whether it's the highs or the lows, you're not the only one going through those things. And number 3, I think it's good for the men to hear it from me as someone that leads the organization, so they can connect with me. And I think what I'm trying to do ultimately is have that presentation be a catalyst to the conversations that occur outside of the presentations. That's my secret sauce. When I think about that, is like, what do I want to happen later on in the day? And regardless of who I'm presenting to or what I'm presenting on, my goal is for my presentation to be a talk in conversations later. Not so much about me or what I say, but the topic at which I'm speaking about. And so at dinner that night, it would make me happy and proud, and it would make me feel like I've done a good job if some of the stories and that I tell and subsequent lessons that I learn get brought up at dinner, and I can hear how those guys handled themselves in similar situations and the lessons that
Sure.
they learned. So that's what I'm presenting
Sure.
on. It's going to give the guys an opportunity to open up, maybe in a way that they can't on their day to day, where they currently find themselves in their business. We know entrepreneurship can be a lonely road, so I think the meetups are highly impactful for those that may feel like they're out on an island and that they can't relate to people in their town or in their area, just because as I said, and this goes back to left lane driving, like observe the masses and do the opposite, right? And that's why entrepreneurs and investors and high achievers, they feel lonely a lot of the times, because they cannot relate to people that are just doing the average, doing the minimum to get by from 9 to 5, and these other people are more concerned about their week-long vacation that they planned 8 months from now. And entrepreneurs are like, no, I'm in the thick of it now, and I'm building something bigger than just a 7-day vacation in the summer. So I think these meetups are highly impactful for guys that may feel like they're falling behind and they're alone.
Yep. Well, that's tremendous. That's tremendous. I want to say one thing for the people that are out there that are listening. We have a tendency to make every excuse in the book that we're too busy, our kids are sick. There's every reason in the world not to leave your sphere of repetitive nature and business and the area that you own. And I understand that more than anybody. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you want exponential growth, it's oftentimes removing yourself from the environment that you're in just for a period of time. A lot of people look at travel as an expense, and you have to reframe that to travel as an investment. If you're competitive by nature, then like one thing you can do is reframe your thought process to like, hey, I'm going to go to this meetup, and my job is to 10x the ROI of whatever I spend here. Um, for me, I enjoy gamifying things in my mind like this. If I'm going to spend a certain amount of money on education, or if I'm going to invest in myself a certain amount of money, I have an expectation of an ROI that I'm going to produce on the back end of that out of my efforts. And if you challenge yourself that way on a regular basis, you just end up with like icing on the cake, because you get the benefits of any sort of in-person meetup, which is like personal connection, relationship capital, new education, new thought patterns on ways to look at things, potential investment opportunities, potential JVs, like potential business partners, mentors, who the fuck knows? I mean, like the list goes on and on and on of everything you get out of the actual physical thing. But then you come home, and if you can apply that knowledge and challenge yourself in a manner that I'm talking about, you also get the residual benefits of more money, more customers, more clients for the long term, which gives your family a different experience, right? Like you were talking about, like you view things in 8 months or whatever as far as a business owner. Like for me, I can tell you a number of times when I'm like, my entire life is going to be different in 6 months. Like, so like, I'm not looking to be doing the same thing in 6 months. I'm looking to change on this trajectory. Like by October, I plan on being different, completely different. And like, none of this shit we're talking about right now matters in October. And, so like, I think that you can just have these, these experiences that can be either the catalysts to change, or actually the solidification of what you've been working on that is going to take you to the next level. And it's important to view them as an investment of time and growth on your part. Because again, if you're just going to your local chamber of commerce meeting, you're likely not going to leave there with your next best idea. And that's not taking anything away from them. I've seen it too many times to understand that like these things can be the spark that light something much larger for you that you're looking to do. So if you, like Sean said, if you want to get involved, shoot me a DM, and I'd love to discuss it with you. But go ahead, Sean. Sorry.
What a line to end on. If you're tired of going to your local government meetup. Yeah, if you're sick and tired of going to meetups at the local coffee shop where the lady's trying to teach you how to log into Facebook to boost a post for $10, it is time to come to the Tactical Empire's Inner Circle meetup April 10th and 11th in Jacksonville. Reach out to us, DM us on Instagram. We want to see you in the room. If you're within driving distance, there's no reason for you not to be there. So Jeff, go ahead and send the people out.
Guys, follow us on Tactical Empire on all platforms. Give us a like and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe to the podcast. Send it to any friends that you have that might benefit from this. If you want to talk to me, or anybody you know wants to talk to me, do a strategy session. Sean's open for them too. Like, let's hop on the phone and talk about what you've got going on. We're here to help. We enjoy connecting with people, and if you might be a fit for the Tactical Empire, we'd love to see you in there too. We're trying to build legacy wealth for you and your family, and extract you from the matrix. Have a wonderful fucking week, and we will talk to you soon.